Hey everyone, it's time for another update on how my Korean in 3 months project is going. Let's dive in. By the way, this video is more about discussing the project in progress, and in the next video, I'll have another update of me actually speaking in Korean. So, right now, it's almost the halfway point in the project, and given that I'm aiming for B2, that would mean I'd want to be around A2 by month 1 and B1 by month 2. Obviously, the progress isn't linear, but these are generally good ways to scope how I'm progressing. And I can confirm that I did pass something that feels like the A2 level, and I'm able to communicate, to do things like talking about my routine, tasks, and exchange information on familiar topics, and a few other things that would suit that definition. But to get to my next milestone of B1, I've some pretty big hurdles to work through still. Basically, I feel like I'm going at the pace that I want in terms of theoretical knowledge. So I know the vocabulary and grammar rules that I should know at this point to be on track. The problem is more application. So there's many times in my actual conversations where I need to say it, or when my teacher says it to me, and I'll just draw a blank on vocabulary that I would be able to remember in isolation. Obviously, that's not so great, because it doesn't matter if I reach a very high level theoretically at the end of this project. If I can't actually use what I know in real life situations, then I'm not actually at that level. So let's discuss what I'm doing and how things are changing. For most of the first month, what I'd be doing was basically giving about 3 or 4 hours each day to flashcard studies, 1 or 2 hours a day to course studies, and another hour to spoken lessons. I actually had 1 or 2 hours a day of spoken practice every single day for the entire first month, starting from day 4, since for the first 3 days I only did 30 minutes. This practice has been great, but unfortunately it's meant that my time with Korean has been heavily skewed towards studies, with just an hour or so using the language, and that's making all the knowledge harder to implement when I need to. My conundrum is that if I start skewing much more towards practice, then I'd not be on track to keep my studies to be on the pace with the level that I need them to be at. But without way more practice, this project is not going to have that sense of immersion that it truly needs. So the issue, as it always is time. I said at the start that I wanted to do about 40 hours a week in this project, and I'm pretty happy to say that I've more or less kept up with that for these last 5 or so weeks. The catch is that I'm actually doing this 7 days a week and have at least 8 hours a day blocked for something intensively related to Korean. But my ADHD brain makes it very hard to stay focused the entire time. So I might actually be sitting down to do some Korean work for 60 hours a week, but losing 20 hours to getting distracted or time wasting. This is really annoying because those 20 hours could make such a huge difference. I'm pretty exhausted by the end of my day, so I wind down with English videos. But for the next 7 weeks, I need to squeeze even more hours out of my day, and that's what I'm going to be trying to work through. When I started this project, I thought I'd maybe do those 40 hours during the week and take a day off to relax and be social. But I've made a lot of sacrifices to actually ultimately have no social life at all here, and to only relax when absolutely necessary when I'm feeling really burnt out. If I'm being honest, I can say that if I were doing this project in some other climate, I'd be nowhere near where I am now. I would have burnt out weeks ago. I'm very glad that I picked Bali, because even though I'm not being social here, the sunshine, friendly locals, amazing affordable food, many great workout options to stay fit, and all the other benefits of living on a paradise island have really helped to take the edge off me living a pretty lonely lifestyle. I don't know how I'd have kept this level of intensity up in any other place. To be honest, I'm frustrated. I wish I could just press pause and go out and enjoy life for a while to recharge my batteries. But I'm reminding myself that that's what my time in South Korea will be for. When I'm there, I can be as social as I like and out exploring the country as much as I like, since that's the whole point of all of this. But for the next 7 weeks, until my flight to Seoul, what I'm going to attempt to do is to keep up my 3 to 4 hours a day of flashcard studying, hour of course studies, and hour of spoken practice, so that I continue to keep my theoretical knowledge on pace, but then add to that to attempt to make all my relaxing in Korean, now that I can finally begin to enjoy content in the language. This should make a difference with my actual practical implementation of what I've been learning. I had tried to do this in my first weeks and it was just too overwhelming. So I suspect it will not be an easy adjustment, especially since getting out of my current routine will require getting out of my comfort zone. But I'll need to watch a lot of videos in Korean, listen to a lot of audio in Korean, sing along to songs in Korean, and potentially expand my spoken sessions beyond an hour, and even wind my day down with TikToks and Netflix in Korean, so that the second half of this project can be way more immersive. This will hopefully mean I squeeze that extra time out of my day to be sure I'm on pace, without pushing myself too hard so I stay sane. By the way, I'll list all the course materials I'm using for Korean in the video description, and don't forget that if you are ever going to attempt your own intensive language learning project, it would be a lot easier if you do so with the guidance of those who've done it themselves. So consider joining my bootcamp coaching program at fi3m.com/bc. And that's it. That's where I am, the issues I've been facing, and how I plan to tackle them. If you've specific questions you'd like to ask me, don't forget to join my Instagram, where I often do live streams answering whatever's on your mind. The next video in about 2 or so weeks, where I speak Korean again, will hopefully give you a good idea of where I am at about the month 2 milestone. Wish me luck, and until then, happy language learning.